shadowy figures, phantom bells, ghostly writings on the walls, and claims of items being thrown by forces unseen. It all sounds like good material for any good ghost story. But supposedly, all of these things did occur at Borley Rectory, once labeled as the most haunted place in England. Now, a lot of speculation remains about the claims of the ghostly sightings and the paranormal activity that was said to begin immediately after its construction, and that still are claimed to take place today, long after the building's demise. But is there really any solid evidence to back up the claims? Well, today, we're going to try to find out. So sit back and hold our beers as we sift through the rubble of Borley Rectory, the most haunted place in England.
It's evil! Don't touch it!
It's alive!
I was with you.
They're coming to get you.
By the power of Christ. This is...
Me?
Hello, Mr. Fancy Pants.
Hello, and welcome back once again to hello, Mr. Fancy Pants. This is Zach.
I'm Spar.
And we want to thank everyone that keeps writing reviews, rating the podcast. And, once again, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or have any stories you'd like to share with us, you can do that at hmfppod@gmail.com.
It'll bring you super good luck. I think. I feel like it will. Like if you just do it and good things will happen.
You've got a good feeling, huh?
Yeah, I got a good feeling about it. It's like it's one of those things. So the weather's starting to change here. I don't know. I'm assuming it's the same where you're at, but
yeah, you're dead wrong, sir. It feels still more like the middle of summer here, where the high is 94 degrees today, and everything is still nice and green.
I'm wearing a sweatshirt inside, and it's fucking fantastic.
I am fucking jealous.
The foliage is starting to change. You get that fall smell outside.
I have to spray the pumpkin spice air freshener to get that. But
or buy a coffee or some shit.
Yeah, some pumpkin spice latte shit. Yeah.
I picture you walking through the house with like a big pot of coffee, like the priest dude just swinging it back and forth as you walk there.
I order requiem.
Oh, yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
Hit your head with a board.
Well, Matt, do you know anything about the Borley Rectory? Have you ever heard of it before I mentioned this to you?
Nope. No, I hadn't. Not until you mentioned it, and then I've looked up some stuff and listened to some stuff.
It's weird. It kind of reads like a period piece soap opera. Like if we took like Downton Abbey, and we put it in like the middle of like some weird haunted house, like House on Haunted Hill.
Well, I think there's something about the age of the story, like how old. Like the more history you get into it, like the more I can believe, like maybe some stuff did happen, but
England's a small country, and you're gonna have people are just buried on top of other people, buried on top of other people. I mean, it's not much land there, so.
No, it's one of those things. I like the. I don't know. It's something about like the old buildings and shit that they got over there and the way things look. It's just more believable. And I don't know why. Maybe that's just me, but something about it makes it seem more believable.
I think they call it history. Yeah. That's just, It's been there longer. People have lived there longer. There's my horrible British accent for you.
Almost outside.
I don't know why. I probably won't even bother with it.
Well, you're getting Cockney there.
Yeah.
Change your THs.
Don't get Cockney. Don't get Cockney now. Don't get Cockney.
You start doing the rhyming thing, I'm going to be out. I won't be able to do it.
I'll do my best. This was a man from Nantucket.
No, man. All I know is from the movie Snatch, basically. Well,
that's a great movie.
Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. All the Guy Ritchie shit.
All the Guy Ritchie shit. All the good shit. All right, anyway. So the story gets broken up into a whole bunch of different parts. It begins, we're going to go to Borley, England with the Bull family. But first, let's give a little history of the area, okay?
All right.
Now, Borley, England is located in Essex in a rural farming community which once housed much of the wool trade until the Industrial Revolution, when everything moved further north to better suit the needs of the industry.
I got a couple friends in Essex actually from the PlayStation days back in the fucking Red Dead Redemption. So I'll give a shout out to John in Charlotte.
She'd be like, "Hey, what you know about that Borley Rectory?" All right, so the Borley Church was built back in the 12th century and serves the surrounding rural community and the parish. There are several farmhouses and remains of Borley Hall, along with the church on the property, and a carriage house, which at one point it housed a Benedictine monastery that dates back to 1362.
Was that like a monkery?
That's a monkery, yeah. Let's not make a shittery of the monkery if we can.
I'm not sure if that's the proper term.
Needless to say, Matt, there's been a lot of there's a very large, substantial amount of people that have lived in the area on the property before the final Borley Rectory was constructed in 1863 by Reverend Henry Dawson Ellis Bull. And I'm only going to say that name like twice because it's fucking redundant.
It's a long one. Just go with Bull.
From about this point on until we talk about his death, he's going to just be Henry. Goddamn Henry Bull, man. You okay with that?
Yep, sounds great.
Okay.
Fantastic.
So Henry Bull moved in a year after being named rector of the parish there. The house actually replaced an earlier rectory that had burned down in 1961. And before that, it had housed Borley Manor, which had once been owned by a wealthy landowners, the Waldegraves, who had members of family in Parliament.
Well, you don't drink tea without your pinky out with that last fucking name. There's just no way.
But you must. It must be your right pinky as well.
It's got to be the right.
And when they ask you for one lump of tea, you say, 3?
You got to roll your R for that. It's got to be proper as hell, man.
Yeah. So, after the Waldegraves took over the property, they eventually gave it to the church. And the final version, the Borley Rectory, we're going to be speaking about, like we mentioned, it was built in 1963. It was a large brick Victorian Gothic style mansion with 4 floors. And after it was completed, it had 32 rooms. Can you imagine cleaning this fucking room? Man, I can't keep my fucking house clean. It's only got 3 bedrooms, man.
If you got that much money, though, you ain't cleaning it.
Got more money than God.
No, you're not the one cleaning it. We got sexy maids walking around here.
If you don't like it, just get the fuck out. All right, so out of these 32 rooms, 11 of these were bedrooms for Henry Bull and his wife and 14 children. Okay, so they got busy getting busy. Now, we're talking about 1860s. So out of all these 14 children, 11 of these survived, childhood.
Okay, we have to be talking about a couple sets of twins or maybe some triplets in there. Otherwise, she's just always pregnant.
Wait, it'll get better later. Just chill.
I'm going to say, are they not Irish?
I don't know. With the name like Bull, though, it might be because he's so well hung.
That's a trend lately.
Right? So the church, the grounds that the church was on, the rectory was on, and all the surrounding buildings, it was on an 11-acre parcel of land. And despite the times being what they were, it's 1860s, we're almost to 1900. There was no running water, no gas lamps in the home. There was no plumbing. So that means when the shit is full, you got to fucking take it outside and dump it out. Can't just flush it. I can't imagine with that many people being in that house, what that must have smelled like. I mean, just somebody ate some spicy food last night.
All the people longing for the good old days. Get the fuck out of here. I'm not giving up my iPhone, let alone indoor plumbing.
Right.
What are you doing?
Now, at the time, there was indoor plumbing, there was running water, there was gas lamps. These were all in the cities, but you were not going to see this sort of thing come to the countryside for another 40, 50 years. It's just It's too bloody far away. They couldn't fucking get it.
Yeah. And what year is it that we're talking about right now?
This is 1863.
Okay, so we're some time past, Jack the Ripper.
Oh yeah.
We'll have to do that at some time. But
okay, so this home was laid out in a large circular floor plan. It had a central courtyard in the center, contained a drawing room, library, large dining room, veranda, chapel rooms, as well as the kitchen, 3 bathrooms and bedrooms, and a few other rooms that were meant for kitchen, like a scullery and wonderful things like that. Butcher room, things you've got to have like that, so you can slaughter things and then cook them up and make them all delicious and serve them for dinner.
I don't think of England and think of delicious food, but I'm sure there's some stuff over there.
I think toast and beans. That's what
Fish
I think.
and chips, right?
Yeah, fish and chips. Or you've never been, but Indian food, which is quite delicious.
Oh, yeah, I'd be fine with it. Some kind of
this was like a monstrosity, kind of in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by a few farmhouses. So like you'd be like farmhouse. What the fuck is that?
castle.
This giant, huge, massive mansion, built right next to a church, and the whole thing was surrounded by like a forest, trees, and lots of shrubberies.
Could you please? Oh, please. Go and find us another shrubbery.
Right.
No, I won't. Oh, please.
Oh, please do. Please.
You must chop down the mightiest tree in this forest with this herring.
Or we shall say no. Oh, my God.
We are now the knights and say, Rick-tick-tick-woo-wumba. What the fuck else they go into? It's so good. There's still ones in the background going,
All right.
Are you kneeing that old woman? Okay, well, we gotta move along.
Yeah, we have to move on.
Just quote the whole fucking movie.
Oh, shit. So let's move on to some of the first sightings, which basically occurred immediately after the completion of the house. I mean, as soon as the house is built, as soon as the bulls moved in, they started hearing and seeing shit.
Was there anything going on with the grounds before it, or was this just...
Well, like I said, before that, the Waldegraves had owned the property, and before that, they had found ruins of this monastery that the monks had back in 1362, and then the church had been built there also prior to that. So, and there was a cemetery on the grounds of the church. So, right after the mansion's complete, 2 of the Bull sisters, they're outside, and they see 2 of their friends walking by in a nearby field. And a little way in front of their friends, they noticed a girl they didn't recognize. In times being what they were, you're out in the middle of the country, everybody knew everybody.
Right, yeah.
So the next time they saw their friends, they asked who had been in the field with them, and their friends replied that there had been nobody else in the field with him that day. They had been alone.
But 2 of them seen it?
But 2 of the sisters had seen it.
Okay. It's like the justification.
And there's also a really strange parallel to the sightings seen when the rectory burned down, to a figure of a little girl in blue standing at one of the windows in the rectory as it burned to the ground.
Crazy.
Okay, so around the same time, a few of the locals remember hearing strange, unexplained footsteps within the house when no one else was around. And Bull's children also claim to witness a nun walking around the grounds at various times during the day. So not just at night, but sometimes during the day.
Is it me, or does it make it more creepy that it's a nun? Like, if it's just a regular woman walking around in a dress, it's going to be scary as shit, but if it's a nun, that seems to make it more creepy.
Well,
is that just The Conjuring 2? Probably.
Yeah, it's just The Conjuring 2. Because I mean, like when you say nun, in my head, it being Halloween time, I think about the sexy nun outfits that some girls wear. That with the short and they get.
Oh no, I get that. Yeah.
That's what I'm picturing. So
I know. I was thinking about The Conjuring 2, the way that nun looks, and then I didn't care for the movie The Nun, but The Conjuring 2, it was super creepy. So I guess every time if I hear nun ghost, that's the one I'm picturing, and that's probably not what they seen because they weren't running in terror.
that's definitely the scarier one to go with. I mean, if you want to shit your pants, that's what I'd do. Yeah.
And I also think it's like I want, like every time I hear that, like somebody's having a ghostly encounter or something and seeing it, I'm always thinking, man, I want to see that too. And then I never put myself in the place of how actually scary it would be to see it. It's always like, I want to see it. But then if you did see it, you'd be like, holy crap.
The devil's in the details, man. The devil's in the details.
It always is.
Oh, shit. All right. So where was I? The local organist, Ernest Ambrose, later claimed that the family at the rectory were convinced that they had seen an apparition on many occasions. Okay. So he remembers them telling stories about this and saying it matter-of-factly, like it was just an everyday thing that happened, or, you know, it just happened. There was another woman who came forward named E. Bifford when the original Daily Mail articles went out in 1929. She said she was briefly employed as a nursemaid there, but she quit after a 2-week stay when one evening shortly after arrival, she heard footsteps passing outside her room all night. And she claimed that this activity persisted almost nightly during her entire stay at the rectory. Go ahead.
So it was bad enough that she just fucked off out of there.
Like, she had enough. Piss off and go to hell. This is too weird for me. Yeah, I mean, she went so far as to confront the other maids at the rectory, and all the other maids claimed to have no part in what she experienced in 1966.
Oh, so they were,
1866.
So they weren't just messing with her.
No, they weren't. I mean, she'd stayed with her grandparents near the rectory, and she said that her grandparents refused to allow her to pass the rectory after dark, as apparitions were commonly seen at the bottom of the garden and on the lane.
Okay.
And the Bull family went to extreme lengths to keep the story of the haunting inside the family. They wanted to keep it out of the public, out of the spotlight. Okay.
Yep.
Guests would be invited to breakfast, dinner, but never to tea.
There you go.
Because they kept the fucking sugar to themselves. They wanted all the goddamn crumpets.
They made up this whole story.
2 lumps, they're all our lumps. You can fuck off.
They made up the whole story so they could have their Earl Grey.
No, but they claim that this was when the nun most regularly appeared. Okay. And it's claimed that they even bricked up the dining room window, which faced the road, because the nun persistently stared at the family during meals. So, hey, Mommy, what's that? Hey, Daddy, what's that? Oh, that's a fucking nun. Don't even fucking look at her, son. You finished your fucking broccoli.
Okay, so bricking it up seems a bit drastic when you could just like put up a curtain or some shit.
Yeah, right?
Bricking it up seems like a pain in the ass.
Yeah. Now, various other people claim to have witnessed a variety of weird incidents, such as a phantom coach driven by 2 headless horsemen. Okay.
Ooh, I like that. Well, the thing about like the headless ghosts I always heard is there backstory on those characters?
We'll get into a little bit that. We'll get in a little more on that in a minute. Yeah.
Were they hanged?
That's supposedly they were hanged. Yeah. That's what they say. You know, with the headless is that they were hanged.
Yeah, that's what I always hear is like the headless apparitions is like normally it was because they were hanged for something.
Right.
Which is it's well, I mean, I guess it makes sense. That's what cut off your life when you dropped. So maybe you think you don't have it. That's how you appear.
Yeah.
I like it.
Could be. Let's go with it.
That's got to be it. That's the truth. That's facts right there.
Yeah. I want to believe, Matt. I want to believe.
I do too.
All right. Along with all these other claims, there was another claim made by Mr. P. Jeffrey, a lifelong friend and chap of the rector's son, Harry, who recalls staying with the Bulls on many holidays and seeing the ghostly nun on several different occasions. Okay. He also claimed that on one visit in particular, his French to English dictionary vanished from his room, which was locked at the time. Okay.
Well, I don't think the English liked the French very much back then. That could have been why. I think they might
Sekiro, fuck you.
could have been in a bit of a feud, maybe.
Right. I don't know about that. So
Oh, I can't back it up either.
the family and the staff searched frantically in the entire home, top to bottom. They could not find the book. Okay.
Okay.
But 3 nights later, this book it just appears on his floor in his bedroom. While he's in bed, he just hears a thud on the floor and gets up to see what the hell it was.
Whoa.
And it's his book. And his room was locked again at that point. So no one could have come in or come out. It was just him.
That's pretty killer. I like that.
So, and I thought that was. He also says that one of Harry's brother was having trouble with a poltergeist at Pentlow, a small community just a few miles away, where the Bulls originally came from, and had been living there for generations.
But they didn't have troubles with it before. They just it just started happening. Well, that's fucking cool because it's like they moved in there, stuff's happening, and then it's moving along the line, maybe.
Right.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
Pentlow Rectory was also where Henry Bull was born in 1833.
Okay.
So now on to Mr. Henry Dawson Ellis Bull.
Yep. Lots of names.
Yeah. And from this point on until he dies, he's just going to be Henry.
Okay.
So Henry Bull was quite a large, boisterous man who loved to host all the social events, associated with the rectory. And he had quite the reputation as a ladies' man.
Oh, boy.
Despite being married to his wife, Ethel, and having, the 13 kids.
Well, yeah, but, after she gives birth, there's like a good 2 weeks where you can't be doing any pounding. So he's probably trying to fill in some slots.
Gotta get busy when I can, man. I mean, anyway,
Dick.
He was known to be a bit odd. He loved amateur boxing. He would shoot at rabbits from the floor of the veranda in their home into the woods. Yeah, just sit on the floor with a rifle and just shoot at rabbits from inside the house. That's kind of fucked up, isn't it?
That's weird. With a rifle?
With a rifle.
I'm guessing he didn't bag many.
I would say not. Probably just shooting the gun. Pretend to be a cowboy. And he also didn't really care for dressing up, which is really odd since, he's supposed to wear a suit all the time, being a rector and all.
Yeah.
And he would only wear all this religious garb when he was deemed absolutely necessary.
Well, it's probably easier to get down to business of the sex when you're not wearing as many clothes.
That's true. Hey, if the zipper ain't broke, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. He also developed an interest in the paranormal, especially in the events occurring within his home. He went so far as to build a summer house, which stood opposite the Nuns' Walk, which we will get to in a minute. So he could sit and watch for her appearance in the gardens. Yeah.
Well, this guy seems creepier and creepier the farther we go.
Yeah. She reportedly was graced his presence on many occasions, and the Nuns' Walk was a grass path that ran through the garden in which the nun was to appear walking along each July 28th, which is kind of an anniversary thing. I think people still go there on July 28th and watch for the nun on the Nuns' Walk.
Stuff, try to catch something.
She was seen throughout the property all the time, but this is where they saw her the most. Okay. After living at Borley for 30 years and with his son Harry at his bedside, Reverend Henry Dawson Ellis Bull died at age 59 in one of the rooms of the rectory called the Blue Room. And I believe, from what I can tell, I think it's probably called the Blue Room because it was blue in color. I mean, it was painted blue.
That'd be my guess. Or that's just where you went when you were sad. Yeah.
So anyway, he died on June 9th, 1892 of syphilis.
Huh, that's
Isn't that
crazy.
kind of strange that a rector would die of syphilis?
Did his wife have syphilis?
I don't think so, nor did his children. So that kind of helped lay weight to the rumors that he fathered several other children other than his own with his wife, with members of the staff.
No way.
Yeah. So right off the get go, man, we got that whole Downton Abbey feel to this whole story. I mean,
I was gonna say, you're telling me some rich piece of shit took advantage of staff? No way. That doesn't happen.
never. Oh, I never. Oh my God.
Well, I will fuck a stamp for it.
I'd like to go into a bit more, but I'm not going to bother.
There you go.
Anyway, after Henry's death, his son, Reverend Henry Foister Bull, took over as his father's position as the rector.
So they just handed it out. You just can be a reverend.
Well, I mean, he still had all these children living there. His mother is still alive, Ethel. She's still living there. So he's basically there. He's going to take over in that way. The family doesn't have to move. So they can stay, stay in the rectory, you know?
Yeah, because she's not dying of syphilis.
Not yet. I mean, I think she lives to be like 91 or something. Yeah.
She definitely didn't have syphilis.
Well, there you go.
He probably got that from some kind of paranormal encounter. He certainly wasn't dipping his dang where it wasn't supposed to be.
That's why you don't fuck ghost nuns, man.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. He built that other house. No, I needed to check out this ghost. Quote unquote ghost.
Quote,
not
unquote,
these
ghost.
girls that drop by every once in a while.
All right. Let's get into Harry Bull. Okay. Harry. Okay, so I'm going to say Harry. His real name was actually Henry, like his father. He was like a second, but everybody called him Harry.
Was that his middle name?
No. Harry Foister Bull.
So Harry was in parentheses?
Yeah, like parentheses, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But everybody called him Harry.
I don't know why he does.
He was one of he was one of the only 3 children, the Bull children, that wasn't homeschooled, and he graduated from Cambridge in Oxford.
Oh, prestigious.
So he also, like his father, enjoyed amateur boxing, was interested in spiritualism, and often discussed like ghosts and apparitions with his parishioners. He loved socializing like his father. He took every opportunity to hang out that he could. And he also, it's thought that he suffered from narcolepsy because he tended to fall asleep.
He just fall asleep?
Yeah. It says he often missed meals and would be found asleep at his desk, in random rooms of the house, or in the garden. Okay. But it was easy to find him because he had a strange liking to cats.
How fucking weird.
You know, like you've heard of like cat ladies? He was a cat dude.
How strange of a liking.
He had up to 30 cats, and they would follow him around.
Okay,
like everywhere he would go around the house.
Nice.
Okay. And all these cats had names.
30 fucking cat names?
Yes. Yeah. And when he went so far as to like when one of his cats would die, he would hand carve little wooden headstones for each of the cats, and he would bury them at the edge of the garden.
This guy is creeping me the fuck out.
And it takes after his dad a little bit.
That's too much, man.
Yeah.
That's too much. If you had 30 cats, I wouldn't even think you would notice one for like a month.
It's fucked up, isn't it?
If one was gone, I wouldn't even think you noticed.
Hold on. I got a hairball.
Yeah. You certainly got hair all over everything.
Oh my God, yeah. Can you imagine the smell of that fucking place too?
Nope, I don't like imagining the smell of places
on top
back
of
in
all
time.
On top of all the human feces, can you imagine smelling all the cat feces?
The cat piss is the bad part.
Man. Yeah.
The waft of that.
Don't mind that. That's just Tinkles. He likes to pee on things. He'll stop doing that as soon as he smells his scent on you.
You get too close, it'll take your breath away, but you know.
Right? All right. So amongst all these other things, Mr. Harry Bull enjoyed discussing with anyone that would listen how he also watched for the ghostly nun from the summer home his father had built, which looked out towards the nun's walk.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
He loved sharing a story of how his sisters Ethel, Mabel, and Frida claimed to see the nun. Right? Not bad for the time.
Yes. No one's named Ethel now.
Ethel Merman? I don't know, man. Anyway, these three sisters, they claim to see a nun on a late summer evening in June of 1900 upon returning home from a party. They claim it was while they were walking through the gate, they saw the nun dressed in black walking along a path through the garden. And then one of these three sisters ran into the house to get their older sister, Caroline, to see if she saw it too. And when Caroline emerged from the house, even she claimed to see the nun vanish right in front of her eyes on the garden path.
I think it's the confirmation of somebody else seeing it when you've seen it that makes it so real. You can't pass it off then, like, you know.
Yeah.
Two other people seen it.
That or they're all full of shit. You know.
Well, that's always a possibility in all these, but
yeah. So at the time of this incident, these sisters would have been somewhere in their mid-20s to early 30s.
Why would you be making up that shit at that age? What?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So they weren't children at this point. They were women. They were grown women.
Right.
So it kind of adds to, you know, make it more fact based.
I think so.
All right. 2 weeks after this event, when they saw the nun, a cook there named Ethel, another Ethel,
Yep.
she claimed to see the same figure, this time stoop over the gate. And another church goer remembered how much the Bull sisters loving telling stories about the ghost, matter-of-factly, and how they seen it often in the Nuns' Walk area, even showing this particular churchgoer to a window in the home where they had spotted the ghostly apparition from on several occasions during that time.
So there's certain places where these are popping up all the time, and they can actually, it's almost like they can plan it out. Like they're on, like it's on time where we know if we're at this place at this time, we're probably going to see something. Maybe not every time, but most likely.
Yeah. I mean, well, you got to realize, I mean, at this time, there were 11 people there. So there could have been up to 11 people there at the time, plus the servants.
That's a lot of eyes. That's a lot of eyes.
Like a lot more, you know, a lot more opportunity to spot this shit.
It's hard to keep it. It's hard to keep a secret with two people. You ain't. I think if they were lying, it would have came out.
Pretty quickly.
But who knows?
They seem to talk about all this stuff pretty casually, and they seem to be pretty practical and accepted what they had seen as fact. They weren't frightened. They weren't alarmed when the nun appeared. One of the first reported occurrences after Harry had taken over as rector was a persistent opening and closing of the back door of the rectory. So this door would unlock itself and open on its own.
No, I don't care for that. That would. So
that was something new. Well, that's new. You know, that's new.
Well, that doesn't normally happen now, does it?
Yeah. No, this door faced the back of the old coach house. Okay. Around this time, Miss Ethel Bull, who lived well into her 90s, that would be his mother.
Fuck, back then, living into your 90s would be 127 today.
Yeah. Well, she claimed that she woke in the night to see a large, darkly clothed man standing by her bed. And then another time she awoke suddenly to a slap in the face. And again, she woke and felt as though there were a presence in the room.
How rude, slapping an elderly woman.
She said at that point, she noticed an indent on the bottom of her bed.
Oh, like she could see the ass print of somebody sitting there that no one was there?
Yeah.
That's creepy as shit, man.
Yeah. She said she claimed on another occasion when she was walking through a first floor corridor, she met the same darkly clothed man she'd seen in her bedroom, and he simply just vanished.
Whoa. All right. Okay.
And it was the old man trying to smack her around on her ass a little bit, like, hey, baby, let's go.
That gets a little creepy there, because I think the one thing, the place where you're supposed to feel the most safe, man, is when you're at home and you're in your bed and you're supposed to be safe. There's an ass imprint, maybe you feel the bed move and you look there and you can see the imprint, but nothing's sitting there.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I don't like that. Or something fuck with your feet. That's crazy too. I don't like the thought of that. I'm going to go tuck in the sheets real tight at the bottom of the bed.
All right. Along with all these other claims came Harry's claim of seeing the headless coachman and the coach.
All right.
And this claim comes from a Mr. Carpenter who used to spend time with Harry. He worked for Harry, basically. And one night he said he had seen the specter years before. Harry had mentioned it to him. He says, on returning to the lane, Harry heard what sounded like a coach and 4 ascending hoofs. As he turned, he saw lights on the side of the carriage, and he noticed nothing unusual at first, but later, as it drew further towards the hill, he noticed that the 2 coachmen seated in the front were headless.
I can picture that. I can 100% picture that in my head. Like it's coming down like a cobblestone road is what I'm picturing.
Yeah.
It's dark outside. It's got the lanterns on each side for the light. The 1 horse in front, the black carriage. You can hear the wheels, and then both the people sitting in front have no heads, and it's fucking awesome.
I'm all about that.
I like it a lot.
I like it a lot. All right, so Harry also claimed that on another occasion he's in the dining room, and through which you could see the veranda. You know, there's windows through the veranda, and he said he noticed a figure on the veranda identical to the coachman he had seen previously. And he went out to the veranda and followed the figure who was leaving. And as soon as he ran towards it, it vanished.
Okay. So
now we got vanishing headless men running around the property.
Yeah.
And we got fucking bloody well do something about that now, don't we?
Isn't it?
Nah, and that.
So yeah, to see that, was this like directly after they had seen the coach coming up, and then was it later on the same day?
It doesn't specify how much time had passed. This is just all during his residency as the rector there.
The random shit that would happen while he was living there. Okay. All right.
Yet another experience of Harry Bull's was one evening when he was returning to the rectory from the church after service. He said he suddenly turned and saw the nun. She followed him through the churchyard and across the road. And he hesitated as to whether to leave the door open she could enter, but decided against it.
I would have.
She's just like following him across the road, and he's like going up to the house. He's like, maybe I should shut the fucking door.
Yeah,
like, don't come in here, bitch.
no, thanks. I guarantee it doesn't look like the nun that's in my head if they're even remotely thinking about leaving the door open. I'd have been in a fucking dead sprint with the nun I'm picturing in my head. So it must be like. Maybe it's not even like a see-through nun. Maybe it's actually when you first see her, you think, oh, that's actually a person.
Yeah.
Like a young, petite, non-threatening nun. I'm picturing, the scary fucking bitch.
You're thinking that, and then I'm thinking about the sexy nun. I'm like, baby, I would have left the fucking door open for you, honey.
No, I'm thinking about like the solid white eyes, hands out in front, not even walking, just like
I'll tell you what, you think about yours, and I'll think about my version, and we both win.
I can't control what just pops up in there.
All right, so here's a little bit more about the old coach house, the one I mentioned, about the door that opened on its own, unlocked, opened on its own, kind of faced the coach house.
Uh-huh.
Now, the old coach house is considerably older than the rectory. It was probably built like when the previous rectory had been there, or it may have been there when the manor was there.
Okay.
It's still there to this day.
Like, that still stands.
Yeah, it escaped the fire, even though it was like 15 feet away from the house. It did not burn down.
Well, it's probably stone, I would imagine. Maybe
the house was stone. It was red brick. The whole house was stone. So it doesn't mention whether it was. It's now a fine cottage, Matt. But one time it only had living accommodations in the upper part, which was suitable for Mr. Edward Cooper, who was the groom gardener to the Bull family, and along with his wife, lived in the cottage from 1916 to 1920.
Okay, so it's way bigger than what I was picturing. I was picturing
it was probably like a two little. No, it was a stable house. I mean, yeah. I was the fucking horses, Matt.
Yeah. That's exactly what I was picturing, but apparently it was much larger than what I was thinking. I was thinking
no, man, these were fucking rich people that lived there. Well, they got lots of money.
I guess you got that big of a house, you're going to have a big stable too.
Right. So Edward Cooper and his wife testified to witnessing a wealth of strange happenings, including a strange, dark, dwarf-like creature running from their bedroom, which they could not account for.
It was a fucking fairy.
Literally every night for 2 years.
What?
They heard this pattering outside their room. They said they investigated it many times, but never found anything. Then one night, things came to what they call a head when they heard a terrific crash. Yeah, you got head. Woohoo!
There you go. Winner.
So they heard this crash downstairs. So Mr. Cooper goes downstairs, and it was so loud he expected to see every plate in the place smashed on the floor. But not even a tea saucer was chipped, Matt. Not even a tea saucer was chipped.
So it was just the noise then. That's all you heard?
Yeah, just the noise. That's all they heard. And they said they felt it. Like they could, I mean, it shook the whole place.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah. On another occasion, Mr. Cooper claims he saw the nun cross by the cottage, then go over a metal plate that should have rattled if any mortal being crossed, but no sound.
Oh, that's because her toes are dragging because she's up off the ground.
He went to get his wife, but by the time she'd gotten there, the apparition was gone. She'd vanished.
Oh.
Yeah.
I wonder how many people will see. I wonder if that still goes on to this day. Well, I'm sure you'll get into it later. But
Yeah. Much later. All right. He also claims that one brightly moonlit night, he saw a coach with headlamps lit shoot by the rectory, swerve out of the gate, ramble through a hedge, and alongside the church. Coincidentally, it was following the path that the old road had taken many, many years before. But neither Mr. or Mrs. Cooper knew that at the time.
Oh, so it was blasted down a path that was no longer there, but nothing was obstructing it? It's like a ghost train kind of thing.
Yeah. Creepy shit.
That's fucking cool. See, I'd like to see something like that more so than, like, say, the nun following me.
Right.
House.
With the white eyes. Yeah. I only want her to follow me in the house if she's dressed up like the sexy nun.
There we go. Yeah, the sexy nun spot. Yeah. Does a sexy nun pop up in here?
I wish. No.
Oh, okay. All right.
I was just
hoping.
You think about your nun and I'll think about mine. All right. A boy can dream, Matt. A boy can dream.
All
right. So Harry Bull, he remained in the rectory with his sisters until 1911, when he married at 49 years old to a much younger 29-year-old Ivy Brockenberry.
20 years the elder.
Yeah. So she was a widowed nurse who had a daughter from her previous marriage named Constance, who was 10 years old at the time of their marriage. Okay. So at that time, Harry and his wife and the daughter, they all moved into Borley Place across the street from Borley Rectory. And they lived there until 1920 when they moved back into the rectory, by which time all his sisters had moved out of and his mother had died.
Okay, so nothing happened across the street from it. So they were...
No, this is... I'm sure it did, but most of the activity happened at the rectory.
Okay.
All right, so Henry's sisters all claim that Ivy probably only married Henry for his money, and they continued to claim this well after his death.
I refuse to believe that. There has never been a woman that married a man for money. That's fucking ridiculous.
And that's the only factual thing we're going to say all day. Yeah.
I'm insulted that you brought that up. Same as there's never been a man that married a woman because she's got huge tits. It's never happened. Back to real shit.
All right, so Harry Bull died on June 9th, 1927, after a very long, eventful period as the rector of cancer. And he died in the same room his father died in, the blue room. Okay.
What's up with this blue room? That's where they just go for hospice?
I guess. I don't know. Okay. Anyway, the rectory once again became vacant, and this is what is considered to be the end of the Bulls chapter of the rectory. And the next era would introduce Borley Rectory to the world as England's most haunted place.
Holy shit. Okay. So the Bulls are out.
Yeah.
Bulls on parade.
The Bulls are out. But they had a nice run there. They had a very nice run.
It seemed like they did. You build a little outbuilding just so you can
watch the fucking ghost. Yeah,
Watch a ghost nun.
Yeah, it's kind of whack.
It's a little fucking weird. I'm not buying it at all. I think that's how he got the syphilis. I think that was his man building where he can go out. And that's got. I think that's got to be what. It's like, fuck, hold on. Right, so what I'm going to need you boys to do is build me that building right there. Yeah, on that path. Right on that path. Yeah.
All right, Governor.
Because that's where the nun walks. And you know my wife, she's pregnant all fucking time. And it's just unattractive, isn't it? Well, isn't it? So,
whatever you say, Governor.
I'm not stopping pounding strange till I get the syphilis. So what I'm figuring is I can lure
Right, Governor.
I can lure her right into the building and get some Pound Town in before it's time to go. So this is where I need the building. Now you chaps get on it.
We'll do, sir. We'll do. We're right on top of that. Cheers, mate.
This is my strange shack.
Oh. Oh, fuck. All right. So after Henry Bull's death, the home sat vacant for quite some time, and the position of rector was offered and rejected by 12 different candidates.
Fuck.
Okay.
Word spread then, right?
Yeah, it's really unclear whether this had to do with the house's reputation for ghostly apparitions or the fact that it was a large, costly home without modern conveniences mentioned before. Like, there's no plumbing, there's no gas lighting. Shit is full. You go take it outside and fucking dump it, right?
Right.
So, not really an ideal place to live at the time if you were into the modern conveniences. This is like stepping into the dark ages.
You're taking a step back in time if you want to go there. But I do like to think that it's because, well, I'm not getting possessed by the devil to live in that house. Fuck that. I'll have to think more of it's because of the paranormal.
You're gonna let her do whatever the fuck she wants to, right?
Oh yeah. Oh, the nun. Oh, the fucking nun. Well, did you see her walking?
Check out the ash on that ghost.
Now I've moved away from the scary nun to the sexy.
See,
I converted a costume nun. No, I like every bit of that.
Oh shit! All right, so on October 2nd, 1928, this we're like a year after, well over like a year and a half almost after Henry's death.
Okay.
Reverend Guy Eric Smith, better known as G.E. Smith, and his wife Mabel Hart, they moved into the house. Okay. Now, Reverend Smith was born in 1855, and he'd grown up in Calcutta, India, with his colonial parents. Before his time with the church, he'd been employed there in India as a civil servant until he met his wife Mabel in 1924.
Okay. And
soon after their engagement, they moved to England in hopes that the climate would help Mabel's poor health.
Oh, was she have like tuberculosis or something? Was it one of those things?
It wasn't specified. It just said that she was not in good health.
I only got that from the movie Tombstone, where you move into a different climate.
Well, that would be the cold, damp England would not be the one.
No, that's not the thing you wanted.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't know things back then. So what do you know?
So Mr. Reverend Smith, he took a brief position as a clergyman in Great Placae before he took the role of rector in Borley. And both he and his wife were unaware of any strange occurrences or sightings that had taken place in the rectory until the locals told them of the happenings.
It's weird. Every time I hear clergyman and rectory in the same sentence, I get thoughts, man, of how bad I want to hurt somebody for doing bad things.
Right. Well, every time I hear the word rectory or rector, I just can't help but think. You automatically
go
Chris
to
Farley and rector, dang there, killer. Can't help but, I mean, I've wanted to say that like 100 times at this point so far.
Hey, we made it all the way through the Mothman without me saying Mountain Mama.
I wanted to do that too.
Yeah.
So upon moving into the home, the first thing that the Smiths did was install a water system in the attic. It wasn't really like actual plumbing, but
worked better than the well or whatever.
It worked, yeah. Well, they still had to use the well, but they would put water from the well into into this system in the attic, and then they could shower and stuff that way.
Letting gravity do its thing.
Yes.
Okay. That makes sense.
And since it was just the two of them, they pretty well just stuck to the main floor of the house because they had no need for the use of the upstairs.
Oh, this is where, since you're only using so many rooms, you just put white blankets over top of everything, so it's creepy as fuck.
Or as the kids today would say, creepy AF, man. It's creepy AF.
It was.
Okay, they would occasionally have a guest like the Bull sisters drop by now and then, and they were sure to give their spin on the house's history. Okay?
Did he ever take him out to the fuck shack? That was...
No, these would be the Bull. Oh, my God. The fuck shack.
How is
the
life?
fuck shack is a little place where...
we can get some
God.
syphilis.
Oh, fuck.
Call girls had to take forever back in the day. You had to mail a letter. Just sit out there and wait.
Oh.
It's like, she'll be here in 2 weeks. I'm not going back inside until she's here, though.
Not even going to bother. All right. So after hearing all these rumors and stories, the Smiths grew concerned with all of the things associated with the home, and Guy applied for a transfer immediately, which was denied. Denied.
Well, fuck you. You staying there in that haunted shit. Nobody going to replace you.
That's right. So the only other person living in the home with the Smiths was a maid, the first of which quit after 2 days into her employment, by the way, after a run-in with a shadowy figure in the garden.
Okay, I get it. I'd fuck off too.
The stories in the poor condition of the house were the only thing that concerned the Smiths about the home. They heard whispers in the hallways. The service bells rang randomly, even after the cables had been cut to each of them.
Oh shit. Okay, so how poor was the household at this time? Could it be wind coming? Was it bad enough like wind could be coming in and ringing the bells, or?
These bells operated on like a pulley system. So
there was nothing. Even a breeze isn't going to do it.
Yeah, no. This is just random. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay. On top of that, they also could see random lights through the windows of the unoccupied rooms
that has no power in it. So
which has no power or gas.
It would have to be candles. Okay.
Right.
That's creepy.
They also began experiencing the footsteps that all the Bulls had claimed to hear throughout the house and outside their bedroom. And let's see, what was the big one? Oh, yeah, I remember. Mabel, the wife, soon after moving into the house, she's in the library trying to clean it out and stuff. She opens up this brown paper bag, and what does she find? A skull of a young woman. Just in a paper bag. That's what you do with skulls, right?
That's what you get for giving me syphilis, you little cunt.
Anyway. So the skull, it turns out, had been sent to Harry Bull many years prior for burial in the cemetery to the church. And he just fucking forgot about it.
How do you fucking forget about a skull?
I don't know.
Wrapped up in some meat paper like a fucking brisket.
Yeah, it's fucking weird. Maybe he had a bit of the old syphilis like his father.
Well, Al Capone lost his fucking mind because of syphilis. If you do... If that goes untreated, you are fucked. I mean, you're going to lose everything.
Yep. So Reverend Smith quickly buried the skull in the cemetery next to the church. And apparently some of the activity kind of died down.
Okay. I'm surprised nobody went out and searched for that fucking thing to try to bring it back. That wouldn't surprise me if people would try to do that. You know what I mean?
Well, I've heard other stories saying that they had tried to bury this skull on the property before, and every time that the poltergeist activity had increased.
Oh, I like that version better.
Well, it comes from the different sources, and most of the material we're getting today is from the book Price wrote, and also another book that was like an addendum to that book, The Most Haunted House in England.
Yeah, yeah.
So
There's a couple of those, and they're just worded a little different. Those are the most haunted house in England. But
yeah,
yeah, there's a couple of different ones, different versions of saying basically the same thing. But this is supposed to be it,
yeah.
right?
GE's wife Mabel also made claims of seeing the horse-drawn carriage at night.
Cool. I would love
So
to see that.
that's it's we got more than one family seeing the headless
The same
coachman.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. By the spring of 1929, their nerves were pretty well shot, and they were trying to find any answers they could about, to explain the phenomena that had happened to them since they arrived at the rectory.
Yeah.
So they made possibly the best and worst decision that they could have at the time.
Okay.
And Reverend Smith contacted the Daily Mirror, which in UK is known as like a trash magazine.
It's like this fucking Inquirer or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So he writes to the Mirror and he asks to be put in touch with the Society of Psychical Research.
Oh boy.
Okay. So they can get some answers. And then on the 10th of June in 1929, the newspaper sends a reporter who promptly writes the first in a series of articles detailing all the mysteries of Borley. Okay.
All right.
3 days later, readers of the Suffolk and Essex Free Press find this fucking article, surprisingly, about the haunting at Borley Rectory.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes something like this.
Let's have it. I can't wait.
Tradition has it, and it is generally accepted by the inhabitants, although with a certain amount of skepticism, that in the Middle Ages there was a great monastery or convent where the rectory still stands. Once upon a time, none became acquainted with a coachman, and the acquaintance ripened into romance, and that they went into meet in secret amongst the trees near the convent. Eventually, they decided to elope, and the coachman called to his aid another who prepared a coach drawn by 2 bay horses. Man, my fucking English accent sucks.
It's fine. Is it
This
okay?
intended-
So you're saying
This
that
goes on.
you're saying the
this-
nun and the coachman were kind of hooking up.
Yeah, that's what it's starting to explain. Yeah.
Okay, so were they both
This
killed?
intended elopement was, however, discovered, and the coachman was seized, and the nun taken back to the convent from which she never appeared again.
Okay.
As for the coachman, they were tried and beheaded.
Oh, okay.
At
So
long intervals, it has been reported that the nun has been seen walking in the shadows of the trees, and that the 2 headless coachmen, together with an old-time coach drawn by 2 bay horses, have been observed riding through the parish. It is an extraordinary fact that the late H.F. Bull often spoke of this remarkable experience he had one night when walking alongside the road outside the rectory, where he heard the sound of horse hooves, and upon looking around, he saw an old-time coach driven by 2 headless men. This comes from the Suffolk and Essex Free Press, page 5, Thursday, June 13th, 1929.
okay, all right. So that does make sense then on the headless ghost and the nun, because it's like the nun's out.
I will tell you this. This is all bullshit. There's no fucking factual thing in this. This is just something that he talked to some locals that had heard legends about this.
Oh, okay.
He decided to write the article.
Okay. All right.
He's trying to fucking sell newspapers.
Well, they had to do that back in the day. It's like that's why everybody loves Billy the Kid, because they thought he was such a hero, and he was probably a piece of shit. But
they didn't stop with this one article though. They wrote articles all week long about Borley. They continued to write about them. Okay,
if it bleeds, it leads.
Yeah. So one of the other articles that was written recalled the legend of a Benedictine monastery, the one that we mentioned previously, which was proven to be there before.
Right, the monk
from around 1362, according to which a monk from the monastery conducted a relationship with a nun from a nearby convent who was supposedly from France. After their affair was discovered, the monk was hung and the nun was bricked up alive in the convent walls.
Whoa.
It's all bullshit. I mean, it's all bullshit. Just to scare the fuck out of people and to help sell papers. I mean, that's why they wrote these articles.
Okay, because bricked up in the walls. I mean, that's just like I don't know.
It's
That's
a bit harsh now, isn't it?
a little bit. I mean, but
A bit much. It's a bit much, isn't it?
yeah. I don't know.
All right, so
it
after
almost
all
makes
these,
me think of like the ghost. If it's like even when a man dies, his soul's still like, well, I got to get a little bit of pussy.
I still got to get some, right? I got to get some, even if I'm dead, right? Oh, then I'm good with it.
Fanny,
All right, so
Fanny.
So after several of these articles were published that week in the paper arranged for Harry Price, a paranormal researcher, to make his first visit to the house.
Oh,
and now we are introduced to Scully / Mulder.
Yeah,
that's what I'm going
this guy.
That's how I can explain this guy.
This guy's something.
He was a well-known British psychic researcher and author who gained public notoriety for his investigations into psychical phenomena and exposing fraudulent spiritualist mediums. He helped to establish the National Laboratory for Psychical Research. He was the founder. Okay.
All right.
He was also an amateur conjurer who had joined the Magic Circle in 1922. His true expertise was, get this, Matt, in sleight of hand and magic tricks, which led him to his greatest passion, the investigation of paranormal phenomena.
No, he's a fucking con artist? You gotta be kidding me.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. This dude was really fucking good.
It's a pickpocket fucking guy.
Because of his knowledge in the conjuring, he debunked many fraudulent mediums, but unlike other peers of his time, he endorsed some of the mediums that he believed were genuine.
Oh, so the ones that were working with him, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Okay.
This guy apparently knew like Houdini. He was acquainted with Harry Houdini.
Well,
so
Houdini was famous for going out and debunking those motherfuckers. Yeah.
But he was not, he came by it honest. It took him a lot longer than a lot of people in this field, because most of the people in this field were all fucking rich daddy's boys and rich daddy's girls.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. He had to have money to do nothing else. If he had nothing better to do than sit around and chase ghosts and shit, you had to have some sort of
Trust
financial
fund.
backing to do that. Yeah. But, he was 40 years old before he even became a member of the American branch of the Society for Psychical Research in 1920. Okay. And he also claimed to have one of the largest collections of occult books in the world.
Well, I don't know how you would do that if you're just...
Well, it's just a claim.
I was going to say...
much like anything else he said, he was a bit full of the shit, wasn't he, Matt? He was a bit full of it.
If you haven't traveled...
Cheers full, Matt. Cheers full.
If you haven't traveled around the world, you have no idea how many occult books you have. You've got... Right. You might have the largest in your area.
Yeah.
Who knows? And then, I don't know, those occult books are written by people. So what the fuck they know? Some of that shit you're not even supposed to know. Who knows how that works?
So Price arrives at Borley Rectory on June 12th, it's only 2 days after the first article was published in the paper.
Shit, okay.
And immediately upon his arrival, new phenomena just starts happening.
Oh, crazy.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah,
how just
weird.
This new shit just starts happening as soon as the guy walks in the door.
As soon as he walks in, shit just pops off. Okay.
The first evening he set up in one of the summer houses, mentioned before several times, with a reporter from the Daily Mirror, and they claim to see a dark, shadowy figure against the trees at the edge of the garden around dusk. And they go and pursue this figure, but as soon as they get close to it, it vanishes.
That was never claimed before, but as soon as he shows up, there's the dark figure. Is that what I'm hearing?
No. It's probably the nun. I mean, I'll give him that.
Well, okay. All right. We'll let that one slide. Okay.
Yeah. But the same evening, they claim to have a vase thrown at them from the upstairs section of the home.
A vase?
A vase? And at this time, they were the only two people there in the house.
Okay.
So they're downstairs together, and this vase comes from upstairs, gets thrown at them down. Yeah.
Okay. I like that. Sounds cool.
Now, while investigating the upstairs of the home, they conduct a seance in the Blue Room.
See, that
which is
always
where-
helps when you're trying to get rid of the ghost, or you don't want the place to be haunted anymore. Just conduct seances and break out Ouija boards and shit. That'll always help.
Yeah, right?
That's how you do it.
Yeah. Well, he walked a fine line, but we'll get into that later.
Okay.
So they conduct seances in the Blue Room from 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. And spirit messages were tapped out on a mirror during this seance that included Ethel and Adelaide Bull,
They're doing more.
two of the Bull sisters, Reverend Guy Smith with his wife Mabel, Harry Price, the reporter, and Price's secretary. Using a weird system, 3 taps for yes, 2 for unsure, and 1 for no.
Okay, there we go.
They
Now I'm understanding what I was like. Is it Morse code or what the fuck? Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Just yes or no questions for the most part. So after using this system, they come to the conclusion that they were communicating with Harry Bull, who claimed to be the source of the footsteps to the night, and also claimed to have been poisoned by his wife, Izzy, so that she could obtain his inheritance. Okay?
No.
I mentioned this earlier.
Yeah, that could have happened.
With the Bull sisters being there, they'd already made claims that they thought Ivy had killed their brother because he had talked about changing his will, giving her a lot less money
Right. Okay.
right before he died.
That makes sense.
So,
it does make sense.
Yeah.
If she got wind of that shit, yeah, I'll try to take care of it.
Yeah. So they probably might have had a little something to do with the tappings.
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So
throw a little bit
there
more
could
on the
be,
fire.
there's to be some real fuckery going on there.
Yeah, of course it is. You know it.
Yeah. So after they get done with the seance, Price left, and he spends the next couple of days interviewing various people like the Bull sisters, former employees of the rectory and the church. He returns to Borley several days after that, with very little activity happening other than the ringing of the disconnected service bells.
So the bell's still ringing. Okay.
Now, there were several more articles written by the reporter that was with him from the Daily Mail, or the Daily Mirror, I'm sorry.
So I'm assuming they're super factual. They weren't like exaggerated in any way.
Not in the least,
Yeah.
no. So after they basically blow this all hugely out of proportion.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Were they
So much so?
Were they looking
so much
for
so
charging
that
like rent?
when this stuff hit the papers and word got out, cars would fill the lanes
There you
around
go.
the house.
Yeah, that's what I was
Okay.
looking for. Yeah, I was wondering if that was the thing.
Spectators would just like swamp the property, all wanting to see the nun
There you go.
with their own eyes. And it became way too much for the Smiths to take. And they realized they had literally opened Pandora's box.
Was it?
They were like, what in the actual fuck just happened?
Yeah. Is it like push them out? We're gonna make some money here, kind of thing. That's
No, it's more like, holy shit, we wanted some help, and now look, we just fucked ourselves.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, you can't. Yeah, because there's so many people like any place that's considered paranormal. People flock there constantly because they want to catch something, they want to see something, they want to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's gonna happen.
Yeah. Even after, the newspapers had died down, they were constantly being hounded by visitors and press. And so the Smiths left Borley on July 14th, 1929, and they moved into Long Milford, which is like a sister parish to them. And, at some point, both of these parishes were combined because we're talking about a small area.
Yeah.
That's where Smith conducted his duties as rector until April of 1930, when he and his wife left the area. Okay. And that wasn't the only reason they left. I'm sure dealing with like all the bullshit of the home, and the cost, and just like, why the fuck are we here? I mean, there's no plumbing, there's no lighting. Shit is full.
It sucks to be
I'm
here.
Sure
It sucks to be here in the first place. Plus, I have to deal with all these people coming by now all the time.
Right. And we're looking at this from perspective. Most of this information that I'm giving you comes from the perspective of Price, from the book that he wrote. And was a bit full of shit,
Yeah,
wasn't he?
that guy's-
Wasn't he?
He's
He contradicted himself all the time.
in his own books. He contradicted himself.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know. Put it,
So much so that like Mabel, GE's wife, she would later claim years later that she suspected Price of faking all the phenomena that happened during his investigation there.
so he's a bit of a cunt, man.
He's a bit of a large cunt. Yeah.
No,
Might lose your fist in that one right there.
no, that's what I had read too. Is that like whenever like the original stuff seemed like proper and good, and like there's actual claims of some shit, and then this fucking jackass moves in, and it's almost like.
Well, Matt, I thought we would be able to squeeze all of this into one episode, but unless you want to do a 3-hour episode,
There's just too much shit, man.
yeah, we're going to have to squeeze this into a 2-parter, I think.
I think the next part of this, like the first part, I believe a lot of it. And then this next part, I don't know. I'm probably gonna tear it up a little bit because I think that guy's a bit of a
Oh, I would.
dickhead.
This next part gets really juicy really quick.
Yeah.
So,
But
well, guys, thanks for hanging out with us. I'm Zach,
Spar.
and we'll see you next week when we come to the conclusion of the Borley Rectory.
See you next Tuesday.
Later.
Later.
It's evil! Don't touch it!
I was with you.
They're coming to get you.
Power of Christ.
Me?
Hello, Mr. Fancy